Okay, you know what it's time for, don't you? Space Gophers! That's for you. Okay, so listen, when we're getting ready to build our argumentative essays, the hardest part is that we need to have a cache of knowledge in our brains to be able to provide significant evidence in order to earn the highest amount of points on an AP exam. And the AP scores always tell us that inevitably this is the essay where most students do worse. And the reason that they do the worst on this essay is because they don't have the world knowledge and the evidence needed to truly support their argument. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to use a handy-dandy acronym, Space Gophers, except just Gophers, but I put them in space because who doesn't like space? So we're going to use Gophers to kind of jog our memory to try to think of the types of evidence that we can build. So on your notes page, you'll see that each letter is representative of something. So for example, for our G represents government and politics. So you're going to look into your knowledge of the government and laws. You're going to look at international relations. That could be current or from your knowledge of history, which is actually going to be a separate category. The election right now gives you lots of information that you can use. That's G. The next thing we're going to use is our own observations and experiences. So these are things that are going to be personal events from your life, and this is where you're going to ask me, can I use I? And I'm going to say, yes, you can, but use it carefully. The whole essay shouldn't be about your personal experience, especially because it is usually the weakest part of your evidence. It might be folk tales. It might be common adages like, you know, that, for example, love is greater than money, or I don't know, money can't buy me love is in my head right now, which is really dumb, but kind of sayings like that, the golden rule, things like that, commonly held values and beliefs. The one thing we want to avoid is going cliche on this, like love is a battlefield, right? We don't want to kind of use that thing. So we're going to use observations, but it's going to be one of our weaker categories. You might look at psychology and philosophy. So what do you know about morality and ethics? What do you know about Aristotle? What do you know about our classic psychologists like Jung and Freud and behavioralists like Pavlov, things like that? If you don't know what I'm saying right now, it's okay. We're going to build your knowledge base. So we have psychology and philosophy. History, which I feel like is going to be a very strong category for you. So we are looking at historical movements. We're looking at war. We're looking at famous speeches. You've read a couple of them already. Historical events and eras, possibly even natural disasters. You're looking at your knowledge of religion here, your knowledge of world cultures. Anything can fall into that history category that has to do with that kind of thing. Events and entertainment. Again, one that you guys are probably going to be pretty adept at. Movies, popular movies. Now, and here's the thing. When we talk about movies, we're not just talking about comedies that you're watching with your friends, right? These are movies that we need to know that have influenced culture. So Academy Award winners, that's what we're looking at. Sports, concerts, celebrities and famous musicians. These are all things that you can rely on as long as you have substantive support. Reading and literature. So any reading of classic fiction that you can do can only benefit you. So hit those classic novels in your free time, right? Nonfiction books, poetry, getting your hands on any sort of literary magazine, or again, magazines like the New Yorker that have all of that stuff encompassed in them are important. And again, anything that we read in this class as an essay this year can go into this category as support that you can build. And then the last thing is science and technology. So let me move myself here a little bit. So scientific theories that you're learning about in class, the progress, evolution, famous scientists, what they discovered, when they discovered it, the idea of artificial intelligence, technological advancements, any of that stuff is fair game for Gophers. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a brainstorm of kind of what we already know in these subjects. What do you feel like you could really talk about? So what I would like you to do is I would like you to just flip this onto the back. And if you want to draw your little chart here, you can. Or just do a quick brainstorm. I want you to give yourself 5 to 10 minutes here. And I want you to think, if you had to write in these categories: government, observation, psychology, history, events and entertainment, reading and science and technology, what are some things that you know a lot about from each of those categories? Okay, that like no matter what the prompt is, what is something that you could talk to someone about and you would feel knowledgeable in that area? Right? So for example, if I were doing this, I might be able to talk about the Electoral College. I might be able to talk about immigration laws. If I am, and I'm going to skip observation and experience right now because that will change a little bit for everybody. If I'm talking about psychology, I know a lot about this because I studied a lot about this in college. So I would be able to talk about Freud. I would be able to talk about educational psychologists. I would be able to talk about Pavlov and his experiments on dogs. And I would be able to talk about a little bit about the philosophers and different, even religion kind of fits in here in a little bit. Thinking about history, famous speeches. So automatically you should be thinking about or maybe I think about JFK, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I think about even Abraham Lincoln's speech at Gettysburg, right? That kind of thing. World religions. You should know a lot about those different world religions. I know you studied that in 7th grade. So you're going through the entire thing and you're going to do a quick brainstorm on what are you knowledgeable about. Okay? Thanks.